January 23, 1945. USS Barb creeps forward in impossibly shallow water.
90 feet.
They travel on the surface towards Nam Quam Harbor in occupied China.
80 feet. 70.
After weeks on patrol, they still have 12 torpedoes left.
60 feet.
To compensate for the shallows, the skipper orders his warheads to be set to travel at a depth of 6 feet.
Before the war, no one would have imagined such a thing. In fact, there were submarine officers who talked about operating on the surface at night, and they were usually shouted down as fools.
40.
The precariousness unnerves a new crew member.
Captain.
Barb's skipper, Commander Eugene Fluckey, is already a seasoned veteran. He has served aboard submarines since before the war began. The bridge crew scans as radar below helps them to scout ahead.
Captain, the harbor's chock full of ships, 10 miles out.
Radar reveals a cluster of 30 ships, arranged in 3 lines and anchored about 500 yards apart.
Man battle station torpedoes.
Fluckey must execute his plan carefully. The crew estimates that the assembled ships create a target 4,200 yards wide. They plot a spread of torpedoes, hoping to hit more than one ship. After the attack, they must retreat 19 miles back through the same shallow channel.
Fire 1. Fire 2.
They fire torpedoes at a range of about 3,400 yards.
Fire 3. Fire 4. Right full rudder.
With a quick turn, they fire the stern tubes and position themselves for a quick getaway.
Fire 7. Fire 8. Torpedoes hot, straight, and normal.
Based on the catastrophic explosions, Fluckey and the crew guess they have sunk 3, possibly 4 ships and damaged 3 more. Local spies would later confirm the results of the attack. This achievement is remarkable, especially in January of 1945.
For the Americans, it's sort of a two-edged sword. On the one hand, their campaign has been extremely successful. They've sunk a lot of ships, but now there aren't a lot left to sink. And so a lot of these submarine skippers are coming back to Pearl Harbor or Midway, and they have not expended all of their torpedoes.
The aggressive submarines of 1943 and 1944 have put themselves out of work.
At this point, the Japanese had lost about 4 million tons worth of shipping. It's really becoming desperate. There will be not a single tanker that will make it back to the Japanese home islands after March of 1945.
Fluckey's canny efforts pay off. When USS Barb returns to California for an overhaul, half the crew is granted a month's leave. Fluckey is summoned to Washington, D.C. and awarded the Medal of Honor, the American military's highest award. This adds to Navy crosses and presidential citations for previous patrols. But Navy brass now hesitates to send a Medal of Honor recipient back out on patrol for fear that he may not return.
Lockwood's initial approval of Fluckey's 5th Patrol is because he has a lot of admiration for the success that he's attained. He starts to have some second guesses. The psychiatrists say it's a bad plan.
They try to assign USS Barb to a safe patrol area, out of harm's way. But Fluckey wants to test some ideas he's been working on.
Even when he was a prospective commanding officer, he thought of novel ideas to use the submarine, including shore bombardment, rocket attacks, and boarding parties.
Lockwood eventually concedes. Ultimately, he realizes that Commander Fluckey's visions for how to employ the submarine could represent a niche for the submarine force. June 1945. The battle for Okinawa, south of the Japanese home islands, continues. No one is sure how long the war will last. Commander Flucky and his crew depart Pearl Harbor on USS Barb's 12th War Patrol. Flucky quickly demonstrates he still has skin in the game. He makes a bet with a crew member that they will sink 15 vessels during the patrol. But at this point in the war, even finding 15 vessels to sink will not be easy.
Sir, what's your message?
Underway, Flucky receives a message from Lockwood. It contains orders to raise a rumpus along the east coast of Japan to attract Japanese surface and air patrols away from the La Perouse Strait. A group of 9 U.S. submarines need to make their escape from Japanese waters.
And in case of the La Perouse, that's the channel between Hokkaido and the Japanese territory, the southern Sakhalin. Imperial Japanese Navy kept the frigate on station, basically 24/7 basis.
USS Barb's job will be to act as a decoy to divert the attention of the Japanese ships. Heading toward Japan's east coast at flank speed, Flucky is ready to stir up trouble. USS Barb is armed for a harassment campaign like no other submarine has been before. Using their 2 deck guns, they announce their presence by sinking 2 luggers, small vessels used in coastal waters.
Fire!
2 ships down, they continue south along the coast.
Flucky is aware the Japanese are short of resources. If he appears to be in a lot of places in close sequence, they'll spread out those resources even more.
Flucky's hit-and-run mission would have other, unintended consequences on Japanese troop movements.